Good evening, everybody. This is another podcast of the most underrated podcast on the internet ever, even before the internet was even created. This is this is Rico, and I'm Nico. Right? So how you doing today? What topic do you have for the people? The people are waiting. The people want it. The people need it.
Makes me wonder where you get some of this stuff.
And I'll just make it up.
Oh my God. All right, today, today we're gonna talk about too much too soon.
Too much too soon.
Too much too soon.
What do you mean?
I think we talked about omission a couple times, but I wanted to kind of talk about giving too much of yourself too soon. TMI, too much information up front initially.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out why do people do this? What is the end game? And then kind of like, what's your take on it?
You get carried away. You do it because you get carried away.
Well, why? All right, I can get carried away, but all right. Let's start off, let's pull back and let's start off. Have you ever offered too much information, especially and too soon in any type of
dynamic? I think we all have at one point in our lives. Like you make those, certain mistakes when you're a kid, and then you start growing up, and you read.
Yeah, I gotta continue. I'm asking you about you.
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, you got an example, like give an idea, a precursor of like, in this situation, once upon a time, too much too soon.
Oh, like an actual example, usually under the influence. I don't know, just like, just meeting someone and, you get a drinking and you're like, oh, my family this and my work that, and I did this and, it's bad and I don't know.
That's just to about too much. Okay.
Yeah. I'll just like full blown just tell you my whole life.
All right. Do you think there's a reason? Do you think there's a reason why you tell someone that much about yourself, say up front?
Well, someone who seems trustworthy, seems to be either okay with receiving that information, or maybe they're going through something similar, and you're like, oh, okay, we have this in common. So they're like, XX and X, Y, and Z happen, and you're like, oh crap, well, that happened to me too. I'm actually going through it right now, and then you're like, if it wasn't for them just mentioning that, then maybe I wouldn't have said anything. But it's like, we can both just like go off of this topic.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where someone told you too much too soon?
Yeah, I can think of an example though, but yes, yeah, I know it's happening. And it's if I'm not reciprocating it by also saying a lot about me too soon, it feels a little awkward.
Okay.
It's not like I don't care, it's just that I don't need that information at the moment.
Okay. What constitutes you not need you might know you don't need that information at the moment, but what do you think they're reading for that outpour is?
I don't know. People say I seem trustworthy.
Okay.
You look like a good person, someone who's not going to be an a-hole and snitch on you.
Yeah.
And snitch on you, and is so and they're right, because I don't really be telling secrets and stuff.
That's
they're right. So they can see that in me, and then they wanna tell me their life story.
Whole life story.
And I'm never like, even if I don't care, like I'm not gonna let you know that I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be like, oh, okay, oh, right, yeah, that's what's up.
No, that's what's up. All right. So I was pondering about TMI too much, like too much too soon. And I think it's about tact and capacity. So usually what I feel like when someone says too much too soon, it's because they have long wanted to tell another living soul all of what they got going on. They got it all bottled up, and they want to basically deposit it somewhere. Whether it's something burdensome to them, or they want to share with someone because they're really happy about it, or relatable, or whatever. But I usually find with strangers, or sometimes you get in interpersonal relationships, people want to share a lot because they want you to understand them. They want to have some relatability. They do want to kind of offload a lot of what's going on about them, but I think people really want to be comfortable. And I think people, because they want a comfortable place to rest themselves, where they can be comfortable, they like bomb you with everything about them, so that it'd be like, okay, whoo, that's a load off my shoulders. Now you technically know not everything, but you know a lot about me. And now I'm comfortable with you. You can go to the next level with that. And I was always kind of like, in my thinking, I'm just like, when people bomb me like that, I always feel like it's almost like a therapy session. Like I'm literally like, yes, and tell me more about that. And how is this? And okay. And you know, naturally when you ask certain questions, especially when people realize when you ask the right questions as opposed to just asking routine questions, they're like, oh, this person's got some type of invested concern about me.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, okay, but I've seen people in a desire for comfort with another warm human being will literally tell them everything about themselves to feel comfortable and basically, I guess maybe invite broad judgment. So they'd be like, hey, you know everything about me. So anything further we do from this point going further, if we continue, you let me know that you've accepted. So
that's true. So maybe you want to know whether whatever type of relationship that's going on, whether it's work or like whatever type of relationship will continue on.
Yeah,
because now they're like, okay, so this is who I am.
Yeah.
Now you know. If you continue, then
you kind of you pretty much signed on that you're going to continue. Like you got people who will bomb you with they complain about a whole bunch. Like, okay, seem very passionate, or you know that bothers you a lot of times. And then or people bomb you with all the stuff they've done, and be like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. And I guess they put it all on the table for some reason. See if you're going to judge them and say like, yeah, I'm good with this, that, and the third. This other stuff. I'm not good for none of that.
Yeah.
But I guess they see if they because of that trust factor. You say, oh, because you seem like a trustworthy person, yada yada yada. Oh well, this person's entrusted me with their precious identity. And a lot of times I think people do that to hopefully see that if you'll give them a pass, you'll accommodate for them sharing everything about themselves.
Because remember, it makes you vulnerable.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I think there's some people who intentionally bomb you with everything about them. Because they're not vulnerable, it doesn't make them vulnerable. They want to offload themselves to someone else. They want to inject themselves in someone else.
That's true. And
they want to see if you'd be willing. Because remember that video we watched about accepting people? They want to see if you'd be willing to accept them completely as they are. But not violate, but if they can get past your boundaries with their complete self, good and bad, early, then what happens is it's going to be difficult for you to basically say, well, I wasn't really comfortable about this, that, and the third, and yada at the beginning. They're like, why didn't you say anything? Well, I was just getting to know you, and yada, yada, yada. And they basically they pretty much bum rush the door to get in. And now once they in, it was like, well, we in, right? And now all the boundaries and the expectations and the requirements are kind of like moot because, well, you let me in. Okay. Yeah. But and it's like you gotta backtrack. I will say this recently, I gotta say in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, what I've realized just in regard to interpersonal relationships, a lot of women I've met are very inclined to telling you a lot about themselves. And a lot of people put that spin on it as like, oh, I'm telling you too much about myself. Well, if you feel that way, you can stop. You don't have to offload. And people will apologize about it. But what I realize a lot of women that I've dealt with, at least, they do so that once they feel comfortable with you, it can justify in their mind sleeping with you. So they can have that connection of, well, I have a connection with this person. They know so much about me, mentally, emotionally, in my history. The only thing they don't know me is physically. He doesn't know me is physically, but he knows everything else. So why not? I think a lot of people,
right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people they want to.
That disclaimer, that was a joke. I didn't mean it.
Man, we gotta work on that delivery. But I think a lot of people do that. I don't just saying the women. I think a lot of people do that to justify the risks they take on other people, so they don't feel the regrets that they will feel from their choices. Well, I gave you all of me, so whatever comes from that, you'll deal with it. I'll deal with that.
Right.
Or the exchange of, well, I give you all of me. Why are you holding back on giving yourself to me? I gave you all of myself.
But also, I feel like some people who give too much too soon, they forget that doesn't give you the right to have the other person do the same. Like that's your choice.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not asking you all these questions.
Yeah,
you're just kind of.
That's why I'm not. It's not a different take. I give you everything about me. You're gonna give me everything about you. Yeah, that's not. You're not buying access by giving me, or not even giving me access to you. You're literally outpouring onto me whatever you got. I'm not getting into knowing you. You're literally bringing it out and bringing it into my space. So I don't know, man. I really feel like people who do too much too soon. I think the biggest example of people do too much too soon is when they're trying to impress somebody.
Oh yeah,
like at the interview,
definitely.
like at a job
Like
interview,
at a job
interview, or you're trying to get someone to like you. I noticed that it's better to try to get people to respect you, and respect is more. It's either by your works and more subtle. You see how I move, you can respect that. But if I'm trying to impress you, impressing doesn't create respect, because impressing means I'm focused on you. Respect is that you can focus on my works, not me trying to do works to impress you. Because impressing someone doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. It's all a show. That's all it is. So when I see people that they do all this outpouring, they try to impress you with the fact that, oh, I've done all this and this and that, and I've had a hard life, and this is why they give me the whole backstory, and then they put a spin with it and all of that. But I look at it as like, okay, well, now that I know you, what should I do with all of that? Is it fair? Let me ask you this. So you think somebody who does all that outpour, is it fair to judge them whether or not you want to continue, or kind of like hold them accountable?
No, but you kind of can't help it, man.
Okay, I feel that.
Because it's like, especially when somebody lets out too much too soon. All you know from this person is that, like, you haven't seen them in situations, you haven't seen them act out anything they said. I'm just telling you stuff. So it shouldn't have as much weight. But when that's all the information you have, to you, that's like their entire world, because that's all you have. So I mean, it's unfair to judge them, but at the end of the day, if you're going to, you have to, you have to go from that, because that's all you know.
Yeah, and that's what you know, and if you have an idea of totality, especially if you believe it, they've given you so much that you might encounter things that you don't agree with. You might encounter things that might worry you. You might encounter certain aspects that's like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it does creep me out when women try to go through so much effort to give you all the everything about themselves, but then they hit you with the bomb. It's like, well, I kind of did all that because I really just want to get comfortable to sleep with you. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. You don't have to do all that to get to that point.
Yeah, there's no need.
But it's a thing to justify them in their mind emotionally and mentally, so that they don't feel regret. I want to sleep with someone who knows me well. I don't know you well. I just know a lot about what you told me. And
exactly.
How much did I really retain? How much did I really retain?
Yeah, people think that by you being told a lot of information, which a lot of it might not be even true, but let's say it's all factual, which, hell no. I don't know. I've been lied to so many times. Anyways, that when you get all this information, you think you kind of know them, or you have an idea of somebody, but I don't even think you have an idea of someone when they just tell you a whole bunch about them.
Yeah, because you're right. You said you don't know how they really act in certain situations.
Like, to me, like, what you are is a verb. So to me, it's what you do. Yeah. So you can talk all you want, but you can say, "Oh, I do this, I do that," but you can be a coward, and by what you're saying, like, I wouldn't believe it. Right. So I mean, I'll take the info, to just kind of get a feeling of how you talk, how you express yourself, maybe even what you think about yourself, but it doesn't get any further than that. Yeah, but you still gotta learn who they are for yourself. But they give you a lot of insight about, oh, that's what that is. A lot of people downplay who they are. A lot of people exaggerate who they are. You don't know this person. Yeah. So yeah, they're letting out too much information, but at the end of the day, so they kind of maybe try to steer your perception of it. Yeah, exactly. Or whether it's for a good purpose or a bad purpose, because a lot of people, like, they have bad self-esteem, or you meet them at the wrong time, and they can be an amazing person, but they're not feeling well at that moment. So they're like, oh no, I suck. I can't do this, I can't do that. Okay. So it can go either way. Either way. Yeah. I feel like. Okay, I didn't know where you were going. What about someone who basically gives too little too late? Like, you gotta fight to get the information out, and they're really delayed with it. Is that a bigger red flag than too much too soon? Oh. Yeah, that's a red flag for me.
If I gotta play Columbo and I gotta play, if I gotta call Scooby Doo in the midst in the midst to figure out who he was, I was like, oh, and then especially if we fair weather like things that like changing and stuff, and like I don't care. I don't even. I'm the kind of person I don't care if you ghost me, because if you ghost me, I'm just gonna stop worrying. But when I'm starting to get mysterious and like ask you questions, you give me vague or you give me parables and stuff like that. Now you could be cryptic, but you guys gotta be smart with it. You gotta be intriguing. But if you just kind of despondent and dismissive and I don't answer those kind of questions or whatever, yada yada, or I'm not comfortable asking you questions that would make our relationship comfortable. Basically, because I need to know, she needs to know, or they need to know, and then so we can both put this in the pot of the relationship to say, okay, we both know. But when you know about me, but I don't know nothing about you, we don't have an equal amount to put in this relationship, then I'm just like, okay. I don't know if it's trauma or some type of da 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 da. But if you get to know me fresh as a person, and I gotta fight you to get information, I'm not gonna be fighting you about nothing. You know what?
Yeah, it's like if you don't want to give it to me, if you don't want to trust me enough, I don't care about your little traumas as a kid. It's just no, like bye.
Okay. Would you believe that maybe don't you believe at some capacity that maybe you have to earn that spot? Like they would have to.
That's true, but you're saying too little, too late.
Yeah, when it's too little and too late, like we too far along. I'm just like, yo.
So what else are we talking about in the meantime? Like all those days or
having
like
fun.
all that time.
Some people are having fun.
No, because
some people don't want to talk about family. Some people don't want to talk about their past. Some people don't want to talk about what they've done. Some people don't want to talk about the relationships they have. Some people isolate and basically say the relationship that you're gonna have with me is just me and our moment right now. There's some people don't want to talk about the future. Hey, so what do you see just going on? Like, I just like to live in the moment. I just like to suck. I just like to take it all in. Like, let's not worry about that. Let's just enjoy ourselves right now. Person who doesn't want to be committed to the future. Or talk about the past. Hey, so tell me about this, that, and that. I don't like to think about that time. They can be honest. They can be true about that. But when you can't get,
there's some things you shouldn't, that you feel uncomfortable talking about.
Yeah, but if I can't get a reflection of how you became who you are, or a projection of who you're going to be, I might not know who I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with somebody who only wants to be in a moment. Moments can be tragic. Moments can be blissful, but it's got to be. But we live in a linear plane, so I got to have more than just that moment, that instant. Because what happens is the day. If I could judge you off the instant, what happens if one day you suck? I'm not gonna want to do this again because I don't see a future. I don't know if in the past you're like this. I have nothing to gauge off of that, so it's too little, too late for me. If you're too little, too late, I'm out. I'm hitting deuces.
I think I'm gonna go with too much too soon. I think I'd rather have that.
You rather have too much too soon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have too much too soon. Yeah, I want to know an idea of everything up front, so I can be like, nah. Then if I
kind of least like
grab you can get up soon. Too little, too late. By the time you'll feel like you're getting strung along, and you'll be like, man, that's all this time this chick playing back and forth, or man, this job was work. These people like going back and forth, and they kind of stringing me along. I don't know what's really going on with this, that, and the third. And you don't want it because you think you feel now at this point you're projecting and say this project might be good or this might be good for me, but you're not seeing the outcomes. You're not getting any reciprocation from it. So now everything you think that's good about it is just you, not it. So now you just got to be like, well, if I stop thinking it's good, it's gonna instantly stop being good because I'm no longer putting energy in it. Well, if that's the case, it relies on me being hopeful about it. Man, forget all that. Forget that person. Forget that thing. Forget that.
They're crazy.
Whatever. Hold on, I got one more for you, bro. I got one more for you. I had to hope I got it. I was about to say, around the idea of I guess too much upfront or too little upfront. Just about how people move. Sometimes I feel like people think they're entitled to certain movements from others because of their interaction with someone. I was thinking about today about like a pitcher in a glass, right? A lot of people out here want to pour out. Well, not everybody. Most people are thirsty. But there's a lot of people who get closure and they get validation from pouring themselves into other people. They like to see themselves in other people, right? Look at my efforts. Look at where they're going. Look what I facilitated for this person. But sometimes people get to a point where they have their fill. I'm good. I'm done. You know, thank you. I appreciate it. I show you gratitude, but I'm good off of what you're pouring into me, right? I want something else. Not that what you're pouring is bitter or salty or sour. Anything. I'm good. I think that some people are not comfortable when someone says they've had enough of them. They're still cool with it, but they're no longer they're no longer open to receiving from that person what that person wants to pour into them. Hey, I'm good with his acquaintances. I'm good with where we're at right now, but I don't need all of what you're trying to give me. Keep that to yourself, or keep that for yourself, or pour it into somebody else. I'm noticing a lot of people, when you don't reciprocate or you don't respond to them the way they want to reflect the amount of themselves they're pouring into you. I said a lot of people are really uncomfortable with that. And I'm trying to figure out why. Why is it when I let you know that I'm good, we're good here, they still want maybe more than that? And it's not like it's like sometimes like I'm putting this much into the relationship, I want more out of the relationship. Well, I put this into the relationship, I don't want any more in this relationship. I guess maybe that's a breaking point right there.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
That's gotta be. I mean, when you give out too much too soon, it's like, I don't know. It's tricky, man. Just you gotta pace yourself.
Yeah, if you drive me and I get out the pool, don't be mad because I got out the pool. Don't be mad that I got out of the pool. But I'm not gonna sit here waiting in a dry area, waiting for it to rain. I'm gonna go look for something to quench my thirst. And I think that's kind of when people are just too extreme. One person want to drown you and get mad when you get out of the pool. Other person wants you to be in the middle of a drought praying for rain. No, I'm gonna go to the soda machine, put my quarters in, and have me a drink. Yeah, give and take, baby, give and take. Got anything else, boss?
No, that's it.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. No, I'm pointing over there. Thank you, everybody, for watching this podcast. This was the Rico Nico podcast. Hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel. What's the other one?
Share,
comment any times that maybe you've given out, too much too soon.
Yeah.
Or when somebody give you too much too soon.
Or have
Did
you
it backfire?
Or have you been traumatized and you hold back on yourself and you starve someone?
And now you started to become too little, too late. Maybe it happens. We're all humans. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna keep making them. And another mistake is not hitting the like button, not engaging with the channel. That's the biggest mistake you can make in your life. Have a good one. Thank you, Rico, for this podcast. And thanks everybody for watching. See you for the next one.